It was 6 hoodie gunmen that came to get FBG Duck outside in the Gold Coast standing in front of a store shopping for his son. Duck lost his life. A lot of people thought we were never gonna hear his voice again, hear his music again. You know, the way the blogs talk about him and as much content on the internet about him, you would think Duck was still alive. People speak his name every day like he's still walking the streets. He got some new music finna come out, even though he's been gone for a while. A lot of people really didn't know that, but we did know that. Mama Duck talked about that. But it looked like Duck music is officially coming. Hit the like button. We finna talk about this. Goals on this video, 1,000 likes. Duck is one of the founding fathers of the drill culture. He might not invented it, but his stamp on it helped further it. It's a lot of people right now that's gaining a buzz and getting notoriety off a lot of this shit that FBG Duck invented. You gotta understand, yeah, it was a drill culture, but the diss rapping, the going back and forth with people, that put a lot of people on. Some people got rich, some people got murdered, some people still out here on the streets doing this rap shit. But Duck kind of created a lot of that shit, you know, so hit the like button. He ended up losing his life. We all seen that. That shit was all on the internet. It was documented. Then his murder video dropped. People got charged and convicted of his death. Now we hearing that Duck got new music coming out. We actually seen the cover art, you know, and that's dope. I guess his new project coming out is called From the Heart. And I think that's a good title in my opinion, you know. It kind of put Duck in a different light instead of using a drillish title, you know, because Duck had meaning in his music. One thing about Duck, out of all the drill rappers, he had meaning to his music. His music made sense. It talked about shit. It gave you a feeling. You got to understand, he one of the kings of this shit. We can't forget, like, Von. Remember, Von was invited in the culture. You know, he got out of got out of jail and got in this rap shit. Duck was already setting the groundwork in this rap shit for a little while, you know. He ended up losing his life. But that new album coming out, I guess it's being handled by like Mama Duck and then Lil Chris from K-Town, Dr. Chris. I always said when Duck got with Chris, Duck music got real soulful in my opinion. You know, before Chris, Duck was making a lot of the bang bang shoot 'em up music. When he got with Chris, you can feel a lot of that soulful energy in that music. It's like Chris gave him a soulful vibe. I think a lot had to do with losing his brother and losing people too. But Chris is known to have like that little smooth R&B rap vibe with his shit. And Duck inherited that shit, and that music was dope. A lot of people don't know. Look, Chris and Duck put out classic projects. I'm not sure if people realize that. Go back and go check that out. But it looked like Lil Chris is being a real friend of Duck, and he helped putting that music together. You know, Chris good with the producing, the engineering, the mastering, all that shit. He single-handedly helped put Duck music back together, and Mama Duck riding with it. They putting that shit together. They making sure Duck legacy don't just disappear, diminish, and poof, just go away. That dude been putting in work for a long time. He lost his life, you know, and for a motherfucker just to act like fuck that music is gone, that's wild as hell. No, you gotta further that music, you know. I think that music gonna be dope. You know, remember, a lot of that music, most of it was recorded years ago. So you might hear some dissing in that shit. You know, Duck rapped a lot about his family and his kids. You gonna hear about that shit. You know, I think that music gonna hit way harder now that Duck gone, you know, as crazy as that sound. I think this gonna be a classic album. I'm not sure who all involved in it. I know it's a lot of guest appearances. Chris has a lot of guest appearances on that shit. Me personally, I think you should have fitted the bloggers in that shit some way, because the internet helped a lot with Duck case, you know, and shit like that. Not saying me, I just reported. But the internet did help solve a lot of that shit that's going on, you know. I would think you'll probably hear some bloggers, you know, voices in this music somewhere. If not, then I understand it, you know. Even Trench's News, you know, as much as people hated what Trench's News did, I think you got to have his voice in that shit too, in my opinion, as crazy as that sounds. But Duck new music is coming out. You know, a lot of people want to hear that shit, man. Dude was a legend in this shit. You know, after he passed away, you can tell he was so strong in this shit. He was the head. You can tell he was a leader, because soon he passed away, a lot of beef came in his crews, you know. FBG got to beefing with each other. Other members passed away, you know. Butter kind of got into it with his homeboys and shit like that. Trench's News kind of unveiled a lot of shit going on. So it's a lot of shit unraveled when Duck passed. Then another thing, when Duck was here, Duck never got on this internet and told nobody that King Von killed K.I. You know, Duck never unveiled any of these secrets in the music. One thing I can say about when it came to the blogs, Duck never gave the blogs information that we didn't know. Nobody never did stories and blogs off the information that Duck gave them, because Duck didn't give nobody no information. Duck was act like he was Ray Charles. He didn't know none of that shit. I don't know nothing. You know, he was like on some real street shit. You know, unfortunately, he lost his life. He got kids, he got a family, so I'm pretty sure, you know, when this album drop, it should do a lot of views. They should be able to take care of themselves, in my opinion, if people do this shit the right way and really support Big Clout. You know, it's a such thing called a drill culture. He one of the main figures. I believe the day Duck album drop, it needs to be interviews with Mama Duck. It needs to be interviews with the whole FBG camp. It needs to be documentaries, blogs. Everybody needs to help support this album and make sure this shit go #1 on some Chicago shit. You know, because we need to do that. A lot of us missed our beat when Vaughn died, to band together and everybody post Vaughn 5 days straight, make sure these albums go #1. But he had the media, the world picked up on his album and made sure he went top on them Apple lists and them iTunes and shit like that. And I think that's the same thing Chicago got to do for FBG Duck, in my opinion. But I wanted to bring to your attention, Doug got some new music coming out. It's executive produced, I believe, by Lil Chris K-Town and Mama Duck. You know, Mama Duck is holding her son down for this music. That's why I want to ask y'all a question. And I'm going to ask y'all, and I want y'all to keep it honest, because I'm always talking. Do y'all think this new Duck album going to be fire? Y'all waiting on this Duck album? Y'all want to hear how it sound? Is he throwing shots at like O Block? Is he speaking about his family? Can you hear the growth in this music? Or do you think, you know what, time has changed, the eras done changed? You know, we might not need the Duck album at the moment. I ain't with that one. I'm with the album coming out, and we want to hear that shit, you know. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's tell me the truth.